It all started with a text message. A simple, gut-wrenching text. It's over. No explanation. No goodbye. Just 3 words that shattered my world. That was from Leo, the guy I thought was the love of my life. We had been together for 2 years, planning a future, picking out names for our non-existent dog. And then, nothing. He ghosted me completely, blocking me on every platform. I was a wreck. For weeks, I did nothing but replay our last conversations, searching for a clue I had missed. Was it something I said? Something I did. The not knowing was the worst part. It ate away at me, a constant, dull ache in my chest. My friends, bless their hearts, tried everything. Ice cream therapy, movie marathons, even setting me up on a disastrous blind date with a guy who collected porcelain dolls. Nothing worked. I couldn't move on because I didn't have closure. I just needed to understand why. One night, while aimlessly scrolling through job sites, a desperate attempt to feel productive-y, saw it, a listing for a personal assistant at a burgeoning tech startup. The company name was unfamiliar, but the CEO's name hit me like a ton of bricks. Leo Vance. My Leo. A crazy, reckless, probably terrible idea began to form in my mind. What if I applied? What if I got the job? It was the perfect opportunity to get the answers I so desperately needed. I knew it was insane. My best friend, Chloe, told me it was the plot of a bad romantic comedy. But I wasn't thinking rationally. I was driven by a need for truth. So, I revamped my resume, used my middle name, and dyed my hair a fiery red. I practiced a different voice, slightly lower, more professional. I was creating a whole new person, Bedoni Karen, the hyper-efficient, no-nonsense assistant. I submitted my application, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs, and waited. I didn't actually expect to hear back. It was a long shot, a 1 in a million chance. A week later, my phone rang. An unknown number. It was the HR department from Leo's company. They wanted to schedule a video interview. I almost choked on my coffee. This was actually happening. The interview was a blur. I channeled all my nervous energy into portraying Veronica. I was sharp. I was witty. I was incredibly organized. I talked about my fictional experience, working for a demanding boss at a company I made up on the spot. I guess I was convincing, because the next day, they offered me the job. I accepted before I could second-guess myself. Chloe just shook her head, muttering something about me needing therapy. But she also helped me pick out a new, super professional wardrobe. Horn-rimmed glasses, sensible pantsuits, the works. My transformation was complete. On my first day, walking into that sleek, modern office felt like stepping onto a movie set. My movie. And I was the star. Undercover and on a mission. My heart was in my throat when I was finally led to his office. The door swung open, and there he was. Leo, he looked different, more tired. Lines of stress around his eyes that weren't there before, but it was him. He glanced up from his computer, his eyes skimming over me with polite indifference. You must be Veronica, he said, his voice the same one that used to whisper sweet nothings in my ear. Welcome aboard. I'm Leo. He didn't recognize me. Not even a flicker. Part of me was relieved, but another part felt a sharp sting. Had I changed that much? Or had I meant that little to him? The first few weeks were torture. I had to schedule his life, a life I was no longer a part of. I booked his dinner reservations for 2, bought flowers for a special someone, and listened to him take calls where he sounded happy, even cheerful. Every task was a fresh stab to the heart. I was professional, though. Veronica was a fortress. I fetched his coffee, organized his chaotic schedule, and typed up his meeting notes with brutal efficiency. I kept my head down, and my ears open, hoping to overhear something, anything, that would explain his sudden departure. I learned a lot about the new Leo. He was driven, brilliant, but also isolated. He worked late into the night, often skipping meals. He had a picture on his desk, but it was of a golden retriever, not a new girlfriend. The special someone I was buying gifts for. It was his mom. Her birthday. Their anniversary of his dad's passing. It was all becoming more complicated than I imagined. I saw a vulnerability in him that I hadn't seen before. A sadness he kept hidden behind a wall of professionalism. It was hard to reconcile this man with the ghost who had broken my heart. One evening, I was working late, finalizing a presentation for him. He was in his office, on a conference call. I could hear his voice, strained and frustrated. After he hung up, I heard a loud thud, followed by a muffled curse. I hesitated for a moment, then knocked on his door. "Mr. Vance, is everything all right?" I asked, my voice steady. He was sitting at his desk, his head in his hands. The picture frame with the golden retriever was shattered on the floor. "It's fine, Veronica. Just ... A bad call," he mumbled, not looking up. "That was my investor. He's pulling out. The company. It's all going to fall apart." In that moment, he wasn't my powerful CEO boss or my heartless ex. He was just Leo, a guy whose dream was crumbling. All my anger, all my resentment, just ... evaporated. I saw the immense pressure he was under. Without thinking, I knelt and started picking up the pieces of broken glass. "Be careful," he said softly, finally looking at me. His eyes, for the first time, really focused on my face.
There was a flicker of confusion, a hint of recognition. "Do I? ...
"No, you," he asked, his voice barely a whisper. My heart stopped. This was it, the moment of truth.
I took a deep breath and looked him straight in the eye.
"It's me, Leo," I said, my voice wavering. I pulled off the glasses. "It's Sarah." His jaw dropped. He stared at me, his expression shifting from confusion to shock, to something I couldn't quite read. Was it regret? He sank back into his chair, speechless. The silence was deafening, filled with 2 years of unspoken words. "Sarah, what? ... How ... Why are you here?" He finally stammered. I told him everything about the text, the heartbreak, the confusion, and the crazy, desperate plan to become his assistant just to understand why. As I spoke, the dam broke. He told me his side, the pressure from his family to take over their failing business, the shame of feeling like a failure, the fear of dragging me down with him. He hadn't stopped loving me. He thought he was protecting me. He pushed me away because he felt he wasn't worthy of me. He was trying to fix his mess before he could even think about being the man he wanted to be for me. It wasn't the excuse I had expected, but it was the truth. It was raw and painful and real. We talked for hours, laying bare all the hurt and misunderstandings that had festered between us. We didn't get back together that night. There was too much to heal. I quit my job as Veronica the next day. It was the right thing to do. But we kept talking. We went for coffee, then dinner. We started rebuilding our foundation, not on the rubble of our past, but on a new ground of honesty and communication. He worked tirelessly, and with a new investor I helped him find through an old contact, he managed to save his company. He learned to lean on people, to ask for help, especially from me. It was a slow process, learning to trust each other again. But this time, it was different. We were different. We were stronger. My undercover mission was a success, but not in the way I planned. I went looking for closure, for a reason to hate him. Instead, I found the truth. I found forgiveness, and against all odds, I found my way back to the man I loved. And this time, there were no secrets, just a promise for a future we would build together. Thanks for watching my story.
If you've ever felt lost, remember that sometimes the craziest paths can lead you exactly where you need to be.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.